Welcome,
viewing
audience.
Thank you
us
for another episode of Bilalian Voices in the tradition of Deen Muhammad. Today's date is July 16, 2020, and this is episode number 6. Imam, could you put on mute feedback?
Oh, is it on mute? It's not on mute.
We begin our program by greeting as Muslims greet. Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me, Imam? Thank you for having patience with us. It's been a while since we've been on for our Bilalian Voices program, and we had a few technical difficulties, but we get through it. I am your host, Lorenzo Elamine, Imam and Bishop of Elamine Private Distributors, located here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We like to begin by greeting as we greet each other as Muslims. Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum. Before we get into tonight's program, we would like to offer some announcements associated with the public work of Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed. And before we get into our announcements, we'd like to share with you that this program is sponsored by Elamine Priority Distributors and online business that is centering Imam W. teaching with apparel and literature. You can go to ElaminePriorityDistributors.com to visit and check out our product. And our motto is look good while making a profound statement. Wear Bilalian. Again, this program is sponsored by ElaminePriorityDistributors.com. Join us Saturday, August 22nd, 2026, there in the special city of Newark, New Jersey, for an address, a public address coming from Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed that's entitled America's Moral Environment, Sowing Seeds New Just Order. This will take place Saturday, August 22nd, there in Newark, New Jersey, at the downtown Marriott. Doors open at 2 p.m. It's free and open to the public. This event takes place there in Newark, New Jersey on Saturday, August 22nd. Now I'd like to turn to my co-host, Imam Abdullah, to share the next. Imam Abdullah.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you on this end.
What about now? Can you hear me?
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now? What about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're still on mute. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I don't know how to take it off of mute. It doesn't look like mute on my end. Am I on mute now? Can you hear me?
You can show the next slide, Duhan. Unmute yourself. Join us every Sunday for WDM School of Islamic Thought and Practice, conducted and led by Muslim leader Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed. You can go to eaaspeak.com and go to WDM School Islamic Thought and Practice to register this Sunday morning class discussing the religion Al-Islam and the purpose that God has given us here in America and the world. Visit eaaspeak.com to register for the WDM Islamic Thought and Practice led by Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed. Now, what we would like to do is show a clip.
You can't hear me now?
That preceded the public address given by Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed that was entitled Appealing to the Good and Just, the Case for a New America. This is an interview that preceded the public address.
Now in its 6th year, the Muslim American Independence Day continues to promote and encourage freedom and equality. I'm here at one of these local events here in Rochester, New York, and I spoke to one of the organizers of this event, and another person who's also helping with this event. Let's take a look. Happening today.
This is in connection to the historic address of Frederick Douglass, where he really made Rochester a sacred environment in challenging America's will and determination to uphold these high noble principles.
We're having a little
technical wanted to
audio. Ask that you be patient with us for one moment while Imam Duhan figure out what's going on.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me?
I can't hear nothing you saying.
I'm going
on mute.
I'm talking. I'm hear you, but
can you hear me now? Say something, Duhan.
I can hear you. I can hear you. You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
I don't know what it is. Okay, I see it says you unmuted me.
I can't hear anything you saying. I just see lips moving. Say something again, Duhan.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Say something again.
I'm here. You can't hear me? 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Okay.
Maliki Yawmiddin.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm here. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you the whole time. Okay. You can hear me through the computer? You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, praise be to Allah. So, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you the whole time. Okay. You can hear me through the computer?
Yes.
All right. So, let's return to this video. It's interesting video. It demonstrates that there is a public awareness and a public recognition of the message of this leadership and what it offers there in Rochester. So, God willing, it plays this time. Boom.
Now in its sixth year, the Muslim American Independence Day continues to promote and encourage freedom and equality. I'm here at one of these local events here in Rochester, New York, and I spoke to one of the organizers of this event, and another person who's also helping with this event. Let's take a look. Happening today.
This is in connection to the historic address of Frederick Douglass, where he really made Rochester a sacred environment in challenging America's will and determination to uphold these high noble principles that it wanted to distinguish for itself among nations. And he challenged that based on the treatment of the African-American people or American slaves. So in that tradition, we are having this meeting, remembering him and honoring him, but not just focus on him as an individual, but on the nature of his challenge to America to live up to his high ideas.
And what would be your title? Because we know you're speaking today. So just tell people a little bit more about you and your title.
I'm Imam, an Imam, which is a Muslim leader, religious leader, in the tradition of the Muslim American people, which connected to that, central to that is the late Elijah Muhammad and his son, Wallace D. Muhammad. So I'm in that tradition of leadership and community.
Tell more about people who may be uneducated about this or want to know a little bit more. Give them like a summary.
A summary of my address?
No, a summary of this event, or if people are uneducated a little bit about the topic.
Well, I don't think that any conscious American would disagree that we're in a time of difficulty, troubled time. And every community that exists in America, religious community, social community, intellectual organizations, business people, all of us have a responsibility to make a contribution to make the country better. So the Muslim American people, we have our perspective, and we recognize responsibility to make a contribution, and that's what we're doing.
Thank you. That's it. Now, to find out additional information about this, you can visit our website at gsonewsnow.com. I'm Jeffrey Rogers, and you're watching GSO News in Rochester, New York.
Praise be to Allah. Imam Duhan, when you first seen that particular clip, what was your thoughts?
Oh man, I enjoyed it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent, wonderful. I enjoyed that clip. I wasn't anticipating it, and so when I saw it, it was kind of a welcome surprise. I appreciate it very much. This is not the first time that some of the local people in Rochester took an interest in publicly promoting Imam AbdulMalik and his events in Rochester. So for me, it's just a signal that what he offers is well received there. It's welcome and it's well received.
And you saying that, we want to play another clip coming from those of the public that don't necessarily identify as Muslim, but have our interests as human beings here on this, here in America. The Rochester City Council gave a proclamation honoring the message coming from the Muslim American Ministry for Human Salvation and its leader, Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed. We would like to play this clip coming from the City Council there in Rochester, New York, honoring our message there, the 6th annual Muslim Independence Day address.
Call Miguel Melendez, president of our city council, so he can present this proclamation to us here. And then we're going to come back and get our program started with the Imam. You can give Miguel a hand. He loves applause. Yeah. Stanley, we've got the members of City Council here, and Miguel, I'll have you introduce them.
Well, thank you all and greetings. So I'm joined today by members of City Council and also legislative aid. So I want to introduce them first. So I have Councilmember Stanley Martin, Councilmember Kiera Kiki Smith, and legislative aid for Mary Lupian Kelly Cheadle. And we're here today to deliver a proclamation, and I wanted to make sure that we spent the moment to read this, because I think it is important given this momentous occasion. So we're going to share and take a moment and share this proclamation in full, and I'm going to ask my colleagues to help me join me in reading this. So whereas the city of Rochester, New York, has long stood as a historic center for freedom, justice, human dignity, and the moral call for equality, shaped in part by the enduring legacy of the great abolitionist, statesman, and orator, Frederick Douglass. And whereas Frederick Douglass used the power of speech, conscience, and moral courage to challenge America to live up to its highest ideals, calling the nation to recognize the dignity, humanity, and God-given worth of all people. And
whereas the Muslim American Ministry for Human Salvation, under the leadership of Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed, has continued to lift up these universal principles through its annual Independence Day address, now celebrating its 6th year in Rochester. Whereas this annual address has honored and highlighted the great legacy of Frederick Douglass' speeches, reminding citizens that the message of freedom, justice, equality, and human dignity must not remain in history, but must be carried forward in our present day. And
over the past 6 years, the Muslim American Ministry of Human Salvation has pointed to Rochester as an international receptor for these vital messages, recognizing the city's unique historical responsibility and moral place in the ongoing struggle of human progress. And through the leadership of Imam Earl AbdulMalik Mohammed, the ministry has encouraged people of faith, civic leaders, community members, and all people of goodwill to reflect deeply on America's promise and to work towards a just order rooted in respect for the human person. And
the sixth annual Independence Day address continues this important tradition by calling attention to the unfinished work of freedom and shared responsibility for all citizens to promote justice, peace, and human salvation. And as the U.S. celebrates its landmark 250th anniversary, now, therefore, we, Council President Miguel Melendez Jr., Council Vice President Lachey D. Harris, and Council members Mitch Gruber, LaShunda Leslie Smith, Mary Lupian, Stanley Martin, Bridget A. Monroe, Michael A. Patterson, and Kiera Kiki Smith of the Rochester City Council hereby honor the Muslim American Ministry for Human Salvation.
Now we like to show a photo of the city council standing with our leader, Imam Earl AbdulMalik Muhammad, holding a proclamation recognizing our message there in the city of Rochester, New York. Beautiful picture. Praise be to Allah. When that occurred,
yes, indeed.
I mean, I felt, wonderful as a Muslim African American, because I asked this question: Where is our message receiving this type of recognition from those that's over government of a particular city? I asked, where is this happening at, other than with Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Muhammad, our message being recognized in the public of America? Imam Duhan?
Yes, indeed. And this picture speaks volumes in and of itself. You look at this picture against the backdrop of the picture behind it. Oh my goodness. You have Frederick Douglass, who put into focus not just what America claimed for itself, but its hypocrisies that made it difficult for it to live up to its claim. And then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Imam W.D. Muhammad, and it's not misplaced. It's not an accident, and it's not a small thing that you have the American flag in the background. All of this is formed in the crucible of the American construct. This experiment with freedom, this experiment with community life and community values, national community values, all of this that exists as the Muslim American conscience was formed in the crucible of this context. And to see the leader of this tradition today preserving the integrity of the tradition and highlighting its importance, what it means. It's not just, this is not just a message for Muslims. It's not just something to be shared within the four walls of a masjid or just privately between people who are already aligned with you in your faith tradition. This is public messaging that's formed in the context of American life, addressing the issues that place the heaviest burden on America's possibility to move forward and to have success and to endure. And there's public recognition. It's not just that we have a message that we claim is for the public, but there's public recognition, city officials, whole governmental organizations, the life of a people as represented by their elected officials, giving recognition to the legitimacy of what our leadership stands upon. And they're not new to it. The Imam has been going back to Rochester for years. It's been years now. And so they hear the message. These distinguished dignitaries, they hear the message over and over again. And the more time passes, the more they hear the message, the more they give their support to it.
Yes.
And they're not Muslim.
Exactly. And we want to commend our brothers who made this possible. They're on the ground there in Rochester. Omar, our brother Omar Cooper, Imam Muhammad Ali, our brother Imam Hashim Smith, and our brother in the picture that led the way, Imam Hanif Abdul Wahid, a man of the people. So we've seen all of that on display there at the Memorial Art Gallery, a very distinguished venue to receive our message, to broadcast our message from Rochester, New York. So excellent day. And we want to get more into what was presented from Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Muhammad. We have a clip. In this clip, the Imam is talking about a nation of sacred trust, a nation of community trust. We want to listen to this clip, and then me and Imam Duhan will give some discussion.
You want that one first?
Yes.
A nation of sacred trust.
And how that touched us.
A nation of sacred trusts. I'm reflecting on this. I don't know how much time you have to spend with me today, but I came here to give this address. So I don't want to cheat the integrity of what I prepared for by feeling pressure from anybody who has to leave. So if you have to leave, then it's okay with you. Do not disturb it. I came to deliver this address on behalf of our people, to put on the record in this sacred space of Rochester what is our perception of Muslim American obligation. To say it clearly, to put on the public conscience that we see ourselves as being a critical voice for America's longevity, a necessary voice. Muslim American conscience is formed in the American reality, not outside of it. So when you're looking at me, you're not looking at some foreign idea that has some surreptitious intent to destabilize an American perception of its own excellence and what is necessary as performance before God for a suitable moral destiny. Our perception of Islamic life and Islamic teaching, we consider to be a critical factor, an essential factor for America's survival. There would be no reason for our consciousness to be formed in the American environment except that it served the best interests of the American people and the American idea. So this rendering here is legitimate. I know somebody told me, well, Frederick Douglass wasn't a Muslim. You're not quite understanding. You're not quite understanding. We're not pointing to that which labels can cause as an influence to separate us. We're talking about the continuity of sacred ideas that all peoples of faith cherish. And the founders of this nation thought it's such an important matter that it refused. And I'm talking about Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, the architects of American democracy, refused a religious test. So this falsified white supremacist influenced Christianity is negated by the founders. Doesn't want to hear any contribution to the possibilities of the American establishment, contribution coming from anything other than Christian references, is negated by the founders. The founders intended that any that uphold the trusts should have a pathway to citizenship and leadership. A nation of sacred trusts, a national community, those that uphold that idea are the new Americans. The new American patriots. They recognize the essential nature of our sacred trusts and pledge to steward a nation of community trust, see themselves as community trust holders and guarantors.
There's a lot there, Imam Duhan.
That was a whole lot there.
What he started off with in that clip, Muslim American conscience is formed in the American reality, not outside of it. When you are looking at me, you're not looking at some foreign idea that has some surreptitious intent to destabilize an American perception of its own excellence and what is necessary as performance before God for a suitable moral destiny. Our perception of Islamic life and Islamic teaching we consider to be a critical factor and an essential factor for America's survival. Stop right there. When he said that, I said, who is speaking like this and describing who we are? You're not looking at a foreign idea when you look at me. This is an American born in America, molded here in America. And I like what he said about American conscience being formed here. It would only be formed here to be a benefit, a help to the American people. Imam Duhan?
And he was speaking broadly. There's a lot of people who you don't have to say that to, that this is a foreign interjection. Well, we know that. That is not a foreign interjection. We know that, but there are people who are confused by a lot of the public messaging. There are people who don't have a strong foundation for understanding and appreciating Islam in America, out in the public, who they're swayed by this idea that Islam is a threat to the good life of America. And so the Imam is clearly not just addressing his own people. He's addressing the whole public of America. He's putting on the record, and this is important. And it's not something that really deserves to be glossed over. It deserves to be given some consideration, that it was very strategic and intentional that he delivered this message from Rochester, the home of Frederick Douglass, as an Independence Day address. And he's shaping this message. He's delivering this message for the public of America. Okay, this powerful leadership influence here, because he's putting it on the record. He said he came to deliver the address, and he's not going to be burdened by feeling like he should be rushed in case anybody felt like they needed to leave. And it wasn't a whole lot of people getting up to leave.
Yes.
There was some people that came out, that left and came back in. Maybe one or two people left. It wasn't a whole lot of people leaving. The majority of people that was there, from what I remember, from what I perceived, they stayed. And they heard the message out. But what he was saying was, whether they stayed or not, he wasn't just delivering a message just to exist in that space just for the sake of delivering a message. He's putting this on a historical record as something that can be reviewed over and over and over, just like we review Frederick Douglass's Independence Day address. And how long ago was that? So he's making a contribution to the public record of American life and what supports the stability and the continuity and the success of American life going forward. I think that was very powerful. The way he put that together.
Yes, and another part that he mentioned in that Imam Duhan is when he said that when he addressed the thinking, you Muslim, Frederick Douglass is a Christian. How do you make that compatible? How do you reconcile that? And how he started the address, he said it doesn't disturb him none whatsoever to admit that Frederick Douglass was a Christian. Many of our great figures was of the Christian faith. But I like what he said. He said, I'm not pointing to labels which can divide us. He said he's emphasizing the continuity of sacred ideas that all people of faith cherish. That right there, that's what you should hear as a human being, regardless of what persuasion that you claim as a perspective. His title of his address is Appealing to the Good and the Just, the Case for a New America. Now, if you fit within that category of the good and the just, and you claiming religion, you claiming God, you should be in that category of the good and the just. And this should get your attention because this man is speaking of the continuity of sacred ideas. When he said that, Imam Ibrahim, my mind starts surveying the landscape. I said, I ain't heard no one say that. I hadn't heard no one say that.
I'll be Imam Ibrahim for a second. You call me Imam Ibrahim. He also identified a group that separated themselves, that excluded themselves from this messaging. And even though they identify as a people of faith, the way they characterize their faith and their perspective, they set themselves outside of the universal picture. They set themselves outside of the recognitions that all people of sincere and innocent faith can identify in. And he didn't berate Christianity as a religion, but he put in focus this white nationalist Christianity that's influenced by white supremacy. It has a strong wave of influence in the country. Some of the most extreme groups, some of the people who pose as recognized by intelligence agencies, some of the people who pose the strongest threats are these white nationalists, these white supremacists. Okay, and so the Imam is addressing that as a corruption on Christianity. Many of the founding fathers were influenced by many influences, and there's definitely some influences coming from Christianity, but in how they framed this country, there's no room for this version of Christianity that appeals to people who are consumed by white supremacist thinking. I worked with somebody before, and he had such a horrible perspective of Islam and Muslims. Even though I'm Muslim, I've been Muslim my whole life. I've worked with this guy. He liked me. And because he liked me, he would often share his gripes with Muslims. And most of the time, we didn't have time to sit down and talk. But one time I made time. I got tired of hearing so much of his complaints that I made the time after work. We sat down and we talked for over an hour. And by the end of that discussion, he let me know he appreciated what I said. He valued what I said, but he put me in a category. He said, I see you as a Christian Muslim hybrid. And so I was explaining to him what Islam is. And instead of him accepting from a Muslim, born and raised, been Muslim my whole life, instead of him accepting the picture that I gave him and saying, this is what Islam is, he said, you're a hybrid between Muslims and Christians. And I still have my same perspective about Muslims. So there's some people, they're just not going to get it. They're just not going to get it. But those people who have good intention, those people who do have innocence, those people who have an interest in working with all people of faith, transcending labels, going beyond labels, not letting the labels divide us, but recognizing the purity of intent, the purity of faith, the sincerity of the human innocence, the sincerity of the heart. Those people who can respect and get along with people, upon that, we have a message that strengthens the bond that we have for each other. And we have to work to build something that's stronger than anything that's built by these people who claim faith but set themselves outside of what is a benefit to all people.
You know, another thing that stood out in that clip is when he made the case for a new America, and he used the founding document as support that America doesn't uphold a religious test. Some Americans is not understanding that this is not a religious test. It's about who can uphold the trust, the sacred trust. That's what the founders were looking at. Those who can uphold the sacred trust that this country is built upon, that those people are the ones who should have citizenship and leadership.
And you know, some of our people are so hurt by the history that we've had to endure that it's hard to embrace a thinking. It's hard to come into a thinking that allows for an embrace of American identity. What sets us apart is that we didn't just embrace American identity just for the sake of embracing it, American identity. We had a situation in our history under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where we effectively, in our mind, in our spirit, in our heart, in our thinking, in our commitments, left America. And under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's son, we were able to come back into America through the doors of dignity. So we left America, we exited as the inheritors of its worst abuses, the victims, those who were dehumanized and relegated to being less than human, just beasts of labor. We left, we rejected that identity completely, and we didn't come back to even approach an American identity, an embrace of American identity, until we could walk through the same doors to enter America that all other people who come to America to establish their dignity walk through. And when we have an embrace of American identity, it's principled. And it's not just a sweeping acceptance of everything. No, we come in the tradition of Frederick Douglass. We come in the tradition of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We come in the tradition of all of our freedom fighters, all of our moral giants who looked America in its face and read America back to itself and made America repent for its ills. We pointed out the injustices, pointed out the hypocrisies, and stood on the strongest representations of our character, unwilling to sacrifice any bit of our dignity. We stand upon that, and we embrace America and an American identity from that space. And there's no other acceptable space for us to embrace an American identity from. But from that position, it puts us in a unique place where we recognize that what America is in its essence is a pure idea that was framed by the founders that the founders themselves couldn't even live up to. And we recognize that the idea that they came up with was bigger than them, with all of the flaws that they had and all of the hypocrisies that they had. They were able to come up with an idea that was universal, an idea that was worth supporting, an idea that was worth defending. And Frederick Douglass, he changed his perspective. When he started out on the abolitionist circuit, he was talking one talk. But eventually he had to move, and he moved to Rochester because it was wide open. There was not a whole lot of people speaking into the air. It was wide open for him to make his own unique contribution, to step away from what were the common arguments and to form his own arguments, to stand on the basis of his own intellectual strength, to form his own identity. And Rochester shaped who Frederick Douglass was as an influence in America. And it was from Rochester where Frederick Douglass went from rejecting America and everything that it was built upon to embracing the founding documents of America and saying that the spirit of the founding documents, the message of the founding documents, the essence of what they strive, what they're reaching to establish, is dignified, and the freedom that we want for our soul, the freedom that we want for our own establishment, the life that has been robbed from us that we want the fullness of, is supported by what was framed by the founding fathers. And so it's not lost on us that the idea is there and is preserved in writing in the founding documents of what America claims, but it's also not lost on us that the leadership, the official leadership of America down through time, has never been able to make good on its promises to all of its people. And so who is it that's qualified to make good on the promises of America? Who is it that's qualified to stand in a position of leadership and actually, without the contradictions, without the hypocrisies, promote the best ideals that the founding fathers came up with? Those ideals, the same ideals that are in alignment with what God revealed in Scripture. Mm-hmm. And not just one Scripture, but the whole tradition of revealed faith down through the ages. This is a line. This is a whole progression that involves the human life reaching for its highest excellence, reaching to preserve its dignity, reaching to preserve its freedom, reaching to preserve its possibilities for its best future. And the stepping stones, the road, the let's call it the pathway. Part of the pathway to arrive at that was opened up by what the founding fathers framed as America. And I move to say that there's no leadership messaging anywhere else in America that is putting forth a stronger, more credible, more legitimate, more having more integrity, a message preserving what America is in its best aspirations than what we have in the tradition of Imam W.D. Muhammad, as it is upheld by Imam Earl AbdulMalik Muhammad. We have something special here, man. We have something special here, and it's not just limited to us. It's not just something for us to feel good about, to puff ourselves up with some inflated sense of pride, to, we call ourselves kings and queens, or, just to embrace some identity for ourselves to make us feel special. No, we have a message that redeems us as a people, that redeems us from all of the struggles and hardships that we went through. But in the process, it also redeems America.
Yes.
There's no entity more qualified, more worthy to be in the leadership, to have leadership influence. And not just, I'm not talking political influence per se, but moral influence who is to lead in the establishment of America as an entity upon a moral conscience that's free from hypocrisy. Our leadership is.
You know, when you were speaking, it all went back to what he said in that address. He said that this is the continuity of sacred ideas that all people of faith cherish. That part right there, Imam Duhan.
That's right.
We could stay on this clip, but we have some more clips that we would like to get to.
I want to let me put a little emphasis on this. He said the people who uphold the sacred trusts, and he named what the sacred trusts are. The sacred trusts are the same things that account for the stability, the strongest measure of stability of nations down through time, as it is applied to our circumstances here in America. But those who uphold the sacred trusts in America are the new Americans and the new American patriots.
What we would like to do now is get to the second clip. And this clip here, just to give you a little background, when the Imam mentioned what he said in this particular clip that you're about to hear, the audience clapped for an extended amount of time. This clip is, what good is America with a weakened Black population? And what constitutes moral failure? Imam Duhan?
So give me just a second.
Is that a racial message? Is that a racial message? I know what they say, you know. I know what the critiques are of us. Oh, they want to empower the black man. You damn right we want to empower the black man. What good is America without an empowered black man? You want a perpetual underclass, a generational underclass, never seeing themselves as good enough to make a contribution. Well, is that the interest of the Puerto Rican people, Miguel? No, indeed. Every generation that has any kind of moral attention and recognition of their value wants to make an ongoing contribution to the excellence of the society, of the neighborhood, and everything else. What good is America with a weakened black population? Take upon ourselves the interest to uphold the society itself. And if the white man fails, we uphold it and help him stand up again. Well, he's failing. I'm telling you, he's failing. And his failure is not material failure. No, he's a hell of a material guy. His failure is moral failure. And no nation can survive with moral failure. What is moral failure? The integrity of the relationships where we acknowledge each other's humanity before God. That's moral failure. If you're cheating the dignity of a human being, if your policies or your institutions or your systems are cheating their dignity, you're not going to survive as a society. I don't care how powerful your military is, how deep your knowledge is of the material world. Eventually, it will run out because God made everything in material existence to support the dignity of his human. Everything that you see, everything that you perceive, God made it to be of service to his human. everything in the universe. Say, well, there's alien life out there. Let me tell you something. If there is such, God made it in service to his people. So if they're reaching to find us, they're reaching to find to help us. Well, there ain't no other purpose for anything that God created except that. So they're reaching to find us. They're going to defeat us. Well, if they defeat us, then it's a critical commentary on our failure. That we weren't suited to defend ourselves. We had some altered perception of the dignity of human life. And that is what weakened us before the challenge of the alien.
You know, that clip there, Imam W.D. Muhammad's words was in my ear. AbdulMalik, you are a combination of me and my father. I heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad right there talking about the moral failure of the white man and how we in a position to hold up society and to stand the white man back up. So when he said that, that really caught my attention about the empowered black man. What good is America without an empowered black man?
Right.
And the audience, the Christians in the audience, they clap loudly.
Everybody.
On that point right there.
Yep. There's a quote that comes to mind for me. A rising tide lifts all ships. And, you know, in America, the group that has been on the bottom of all of the socioeconomic metrics since the beginning of America has been the African American. And all of the people who have achieved rights, all of the people who have achieved stronger measures of freedoms and more rights, more flexibilities, more of America's entitlements. Those things were open to them by way of the struggle of African Americans. As the quality of life for African Americans have risen, so has risen the quality of life for all people in America. And so to look at African Americans, to look at any African American leadership and to criticize it and speak of it as though it's an issue that, oh, well, you want to empower black people. You want to give your attention to black people. What's wrong with that?
Like, that's a radical idea.
Yeah, it's an insane idea because as much as black people achieve, as much as black people improve, that's as much as the whole country, the whole society improves. You know, the society can only rise as high as its lowest people.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a limit on how far you can go, because you can achieve great material accomplishments, but when people look at you, they see your hypocrisy in your treat. It's people are not blind. People around the world are not blind to the treatment of America, the America's treatment of its population of people descended from slaves. You know, I think about there was a group in India that modeled themselves after the Black Panthers to fight for their rights there. I heard stories about, you know, in Vietnam, the Vietnamese soldiers, like they wouldn't kill the African Americans because they said our problem is not with you. But And there's recognition around the world for who we are and what our place has been and the treatment that we've received. And so people know this. And America is only able to be redeemed of its hypocrisy and its immoral character by redeeming our situation.
Mm-hmm.
America has to make right what it did with us. And most of the people who have been in leadership throughout American history are not qualified to fix the problem. But the problem with what America did to our people, that has to be fixed. That has to be remedied. That has to be resolved before America is able to resolve its double standards.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's powerful language of leadership influence there.
Yes.
It stood out to me.
Go ahead, Imam Duhan.
I want to say another thing that stood out to me is Imam said the white man is failing morally. As much as he's able to achieve materially, he's failing morally. And no society can survive moral failure. Now, I'm a teacher. I teach world history back through the beginning of human existence, all the way back to prehistoric times. And you know, I can verify this. When societies lose their moral strength, they lose their moral stature, and all manner of social ills creep into the society. The society is on its way downhill. Even if it doesn't collapse right away, it's a impending collapse. It's on its way downhill. You're not redeeming it. Same thing happened with Europe. Europe fell into the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages, and Europe was redeemed by its failures because of the influence of the Muslims in the golden age of Islam. And the influences of the Muslim world reached into Europe, turned the light back on in Europe where the light was turned off, and stood them up and set them on a pathway towards civilization again. But the leadership that stands human life up in its dignity and sets it on a course for progress is the leadership that stands upon moral strength.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have.
Excellent point, Imam Duhan. We would like to progress to our final clip. This is a clip speaking on humanity's diverse taste. We had the pleasure while we was there in Rochester to visit a special restaurant, I would say. Well, not just because it had delicious food, but the one who owns it, the name of it, where it's located in the neighborhood, just was all just a beautiful display from the food, from the everything about this particular restaurant. And we want to hear now what Imam gave his commentary regarding the humanity's diverse taste and what that means.
And in this moment right now, this critical moment, we are in a similar kind of conflict, and it requires a particular kind of consciousness to analyze it and to certify it for its moral purpose. And the current leaders of our national offices are conflicted and compromised. So where does leadership come from now? Rochester. Community leaders that see and value the sacred trusts. And they have in their mind the promotion of values across neighborhoods and ethnicities. They they are securing for themselves the real America. And in this estimation, a new America. Now, how do I know that this is truth and that God has blessed me to be a witness to it? Our brothers, they took me someplace last night. And we don't do discos, bars and stuff. I don't know, that's the word. That's not the word anymore. Clubs. All right, excuse me. Lounges. That's the word. They look, if they took me someplace, they even suggested that, it'd be big trouble. Some people give me some big trouble. So we don't do that kind of thing. The most stimulant drink we take is sparkling water. Strong ginger beer or something, you know. That's about it. As far as it goes. They took me someplace last night. And I'm going to mention where they took me. And I hope that you all will patronize this business, this establishment. It's called Table 19. All right? Now, I'm mentioning this in this context because the proprietor, who is the chef of this business, she introduced herself to us. She came, she prepared our food. Food was outstanding, excellent. And it had a particular taste and interest, African-American inspired cuisine, but it has some Spanish influence. That's good. And I don't know what the ethnicity was of the young man that waited on us. He looked like white man to me. That's what he looked like. I'm not certain. But what I'm saying is that the social environment of this establishment was not race-based. It was culture-based, all right? But the significant part of this that I want to mention to you in this context is the name that she chose, Table 19. Now, I didn't say anything when she was introducing herself to us, but Muslims have a connection to the number 19. And it's not spooky, you know, it's not, it's mystical, but it's not spooky. It doesn't mean to burden you, okay? It's a clear reference in the Quran. But when she introduced herself to us, our Imam, he asked her about the name. And she said that her understanding was that 19 was associated with God. Well, that was sufficient for me. I was already impressed with her and the establishment. You know, you can look at the dignity of a place and how it's constructed and know whether or not a person believes in God. They don't have to announce it to you. You can see the quality of what they're doing. And even if that belief is not necessarily your belief, it's still a clear connection that they hold themselves accountable to a God. So I already knew that about her. Her food and the setting and everything. People she chooses to work for, all that. But she introduced herself to us. And she explained about the name. The Quran speaks of the number 19 as a body of guardians, separating that which would weaken human life from that which strengthens human life. From a symbolic point of view, 19 is just 10 plus 9, right? 10, base number, 10 is awareness, 10 is consciousness. That's well established. You don't have to be a Muslim just to embrace that. It's well established, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we start again, consciousness. 9 is 5 and 4 for us. It can be 6 and 3, it can be 7 and 2, it can be 8 and 1, it can be 9 and 0, right? But for this discussion, it's 5 and 4. For Muslims, 4 is material. square feet. 4 corners of the earth. Okay? 5 is spiritual. 5 in the Arabic language is written like a circle. If you look at it in the Arabic language, khamsa, it looks like a circle. So this is 5. 5 and 4 is 9. So 19 then is a conscious acceptance of responsibility to guard God's intent for spiritual and material destiny. Now, I don't know that this sister knows anything about what I just said, but this is what she told us, that she named the place 19 because it's associated with God and it's in the 19th ward. Well, I said to myself that here is a real descendant of Frederick Douglass's moral interest in making Rochester a sacred center. And here's this woman who is indirectly or directly descended from that interest, feeding her community that regard, and feeding it with not just bland, general spirit, but with a seasoned spirit. And let me tell you something. In the estimation of anthropologists, scientists who study human life and its development, they say that one of the critical factors for the establishment of civil order is the seasoning of food. When human beings begin to season their food, that is where you see an impulse for high culture, high civilization, distinguished recognitions in all of the aspirations of human communities to embrace for themselves the highest place. So that's why all of the ethnic groups that exist on this earth have a different taste. And they don't want to just hold that taste to themselves. They want to share it. And how do I know that? You go into a Puerto Rican neighborhood, you know the scent of the Puerto Rican neighborhood. What does that tell you? They want you to smell that scent. They want you to smell their food. Same with the African American neighborhood. If we can find one that has a concentration of that, we got to work on it. But every people have their tastes, and their tastes are intelligent, and their tastes are a commentary on their dignity and their acquisition of civilized properties that they want to engage the rest of mankind with. So, you know this lady's name? Freedom. That's all. God is just piling up the evidence for me. Freeman. Elizabeth Freeman. I'm not saying anything, I'm just looking at somebody's photograph. It's very similar to Eliza.
By us experiencing what the Imam was speaking of as far as the establishment, that was a clear observation. Very clear observation what the Imam pointed out in regards to Table 19 and this owner and what she was serving to her community.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see nothing but dignity from the time we walked in until the time we left. Nothing but dignity, nothing but an atmosphere complementing human dignity and human intelligence. Imam Duhan?
Yeah, and the food was good.
Excellent food. Excellent.
I wish if I would have heard the Imam's commentary on it before I went, I think the food would have tasted even better.
Yes.
It was already good.
Yes.
It was already good.
But that commentary to go with it, Imam, I'm reflecting, listening to him as he speak. And he said this, he said, God is just piling up the evidence.
Right.
Her name, free name. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And our Imam, Hanif Abdul Wahid, he got that clip to her. So praise be to Allah.
That's right.
Yes. And he wanted me to share something before we go on. Imam Hanif Abdul Wahid. He made mention, he said, Rochester is a receptor for this message. Talking about our message. Our history of hearing a requisition of a higher calling for human dignity is on record in action and deed. The Imam's message is in the same vein.
Praise be to Allah.
And that's coming from our Imam there in Rochester, New York. Imam Hanif Abdul Wahid, who has done an excellent job, him and the brothers, with making Rochester a great host for our message.
Absolutely. I listened to that last clip and I'm thinking there's nothing I want to add. Like this. There's nothing. I don't even want to say anything.
It's clear.
Yeah, it is. It was very clear. I appreciate the Imam, just like Imam W.D. Muhammad will bring up anthropology, will bring up other types of sciences, but like he said, just the evidence is just piling on of the legitimacy of this message and this leadership tradition.
Praise be to Allah. And I think Imam Duhan would agree. He was in attendance and it was a huge success.
Oh yeah.
A huge success.
Absolutely.
Year after year, it gets better and better.
Yep.
So again, we thank our brothers there in Rochester, New York. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Bilalian Voices in the tradition of Imam W.D. Muhammad. This is episode number 67. And what I would suggest to our listening audience, to go to EAM Speaks on YouTube and pull up this address, the 6th Annual Muslim American Independence Day Address by Muslim American leader Imam Earl AbdulMalik Muhammad. His address is entitled Appealing to the Good and Just, the Case for a New America. And indeed, the man made the case.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So what we would like to do now is close out with our announcements. Join us Saturday, August 22nd, 2026 in Newark, New Jersey, to hear from Muslim American leader in the tradition of Imam W.D. Muhammad, Imam Earl AbdulMalik Muhammad, as he addresses America's moral environment, sowing seeds for a new and just order. This will take place Saturday, August 22nd, 2026. They're in Newark, New Jersey at 2 p.m. Attendance is free and open to all. This will take place at the Downtown Courtyard Marriott. They're on Broad Street in Newark, New Jersey. Now what would we like to do is conclude with the words, the dua of Imam W.D. Muhammad. O Allah, we cannot manage this life for ourselves, not without you. Please make our life what you would want it to be, what you prefer it to be. Do not allow us to act on our own. Help us to act only in obedience to you. We hear you, we obey you, and we look to you for forgiveness, our Lord. And to you is our destination. Amen. Until the next time, peace be upon you.